Welcome to Property Pillars. This is a show where we talk to property professionals about buy-to-let investments, mortgages, land developments and other topics. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned investor, this is a show for you. Are you looking to invest your money in property in the UK? Are you unsure about the areas to invest your money and what areas give better returns? On today's show, we have Mr. Sam Fonghu, who's a managing director of the Midas Property Group. They're a consultancy based in London, and they help people who have funds, who need assistance and guidance on how best to invest it, whether it's a short-term, long-term or medium-term investment. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce two property pillars, Mr. Sam Fonghu.
Thank you, by the way, for inviting me on the program.
So, tell us about the Midas Property Group.
Midas Property Group, we, like you rightly said, based in London. We're a property consultancy company. We organize a lot of networking events for people in the property industry. We organize auction events for people that want to use the auction strategy to buy or exit out of the property industry. We do acquisitions for high net worth individuals that are based abroad, and for developers in the UK that are looking for sites to build on.
Fantastic. Now, Midas Property Group sounds very conventional, very similar to an estate agent. So can you explain to me what's the difference between yourselves and an estate agent on the local high street?
That's a brilliant question, because Midas Property Group actually owns a couple of estate agencies. So okay. I know exactly the difference between our staff that work in the estate agency business and the ones that work within Midas. Midas Property Group employees are consultants. What we do is, if you go to an estate agent, they have a property listed on their site, they try and sell it to you. If you come to Midas, you meet us, we are consultants. We meet our clients, open-minded. We'll find out what exactly you want to get out of the industry. So we work with you to tailor a solution that would meet your exact requirements. So that, for me, is a key difference between Midas Property Group and a normal estate agent.
Right. Well, if I was an investor, let's say, and I had some money that I'd come across, an investor some money, and I wasn't really sure how to invest it, where to put it, in what way would you be able to guide me in terms of where to put my money, what areas, and how returns are worked, and all the things that I need to know to make sure that my money is safe?
That's our day-to-day duties, actually, at Midas. What I typically do is, we have a whole long list of clients. I would pick up a client, talk to them, have a meeting with them, find out their objectives for investing. There are investors that want capital growth. So I would advise them maybe to buy in a high-end area like Central London, Chelsea, or somewhere that there will be immediate growth. There are some clients that I have that are looking at, they don't mind about capital growth, they want quick yields. They want to know that they can buy a property for, say, £250,000. That will give them £2,000 every month. That's almost 12% yield. You can't get that in London. I would advise them maybe you can go to a place like Weston-super-Mare, like in Somerset, or somewhere up north to buy a HMO, which can give them those kind of yields.
So you would assist an investor who's got significant funds with finding and sourcing a property. Can you talk me through an example of one or two investors that you've helped in this way and explain how they got a return on their investment?
Okay. We had a unique case where one of our clients came to us with a portfolio of rundown properties that they wanted to sell because they want to retire. And we had a different client that was looking at investing. So we structured a deal whereby the buyer and the seller exchange contracts without completing the property. So the investors who bought the property actually got all the properties done up and then remortgaged it at a much higher amount than the price they agreed with, and then paid off the seller. So that way, while they were doing the refurbishment, they were renting the properties from the owner. So the owner made a bit more money than they would have normally made, and the buyers basically had the property for free, because once they've done the work, remortgaged it, they really didn't have to put any money in. So those are the kind of deals that we can structure, because we have our sellers and buyers are very close to us. We can structure those kind of deals. I've got investors from abroad that will source land for them. They bought land for about £400,000, maybe spend about £400,000 to build maybe 4 or 5 flats on that land. After completion, the property is actually valued at 1.5 million.
Fantastic.
So that's about £500,000 profit. So they can get that money out by remortgaging it now for maybe £1 million, and then taking out all that investment with maybe about £200,000 immediately.
It's a great service you provide. I mean, because you're on the ground and you knowing what's happening and how things are moving forward, there's lots of talk and concern about Brexit these days. So from your perspective, standing from where you stand, what's your opinion about Brexit and how it impacts on the UK property market?
I think when I look at UK being in or out of the EU, I would talk a lot more about London, because what happens in London tends to ripple across the whole country. London has been at the forefront of commerce for the last 300 years. And like they said, you cannot keep relying on history alone. You must do some changes. Dubai was just an airstrip 10, 15 years ago, but now Dubai is the biggest center in the world for business. Singapore is competing as well. If London does not do anything, London would risk being left behind. Within the EU, I don't think London can actually achieve the development required to compete with those countries, with Dubai and Singapore. So for London to actually catch up with those places, London needs to be independent, make quick decisions, which it cannot make those decisions within the EU. So I think being out of the EU is the best thing that can possibly happen to London. I can see London flying the next 5 to 10 years. And what tends to happen, once London gets very successful, it ripples out to the home countries, because everyone that cannot afford in London then buys out of London. So I think being out of the EU is the best possible thing that can happen for London.
About the Brexit and the referendum results, what's your opinion about people who are looking with the idea of buying property or investing in the UK right now?
In terms of immediate effect of coming out of the EU, that it won't affect the property market, because the property industry, like any industry, is a demand and supply led industry. Currently, we have a shortage of homes, probably about 17 million homes in the UK. By coming out of the EU, those nationals are not going to leave the UK at all. Most of them, they will probably stay behind. Most Romanians that have come here, they've got British passports. There's no push for them to leave. Unless someone suddenly supplies 17 million homes in the UK, then we can see a difference. But as long as there's no supply in the market, I don't see any immediate impact. That said, because of the way Article 50 is dragging on, you can see the pound has lost significant value. To someone in Singapore, this is a 20% discount in the property industry. So if you have dollars, you come into the UK now to buy, you're almost having a 20% discount on property compared to someone that's buying in the UK. So we've actually seen a very significant increase in people buying from abroad, because suddenly they see it like, I can buy 20% more than I could buy before. So I think immediately it's actually fueling the market for more and more foreign investors to buy.
Thank you. So let's sort of stay towards the land side of things, because from the point of view of a developer, there's a real shortage of available land for them to develop on. And your company offers a bespoke service where you source land from the network of people that you have, that you can potentially present a site to a developer just for him to build and to sell on. So from that point of view, what do you offer a developer in terms of your land sourcing service?
At Midas, we do very well with sourcing for development sites for our clients. Again, we would look at clients and see what they look for. So we would look at people that want to be in the game long-term, building from ground up. We source land with planning where they can actually take off and build. For people that want to come in and maybe get out of the industry or be homeowners within 6 months, we look for office buildings that has permission to build. Because of the shortage in supply of housing, most offices qualify to be converted to residential. So we would look for those projects for those clients, because it takes probably about within 3 to 4 months you can actually complete them. Whereas if you're building, it takes about 18 months to do a new build. And some clients that just have money and they don't want to build by themselves, we can actually marry someone that has money. We can create a joint venture between a builder or someone that has a building company or builders but hasn't got money, with a foreign or a national investor that brings the money. Then they can do the project and then share the proceeds. depending on how the two parties agree. So we actually can structure all those kind of deals.
That's great. A lot of people are a bit hazy about auction deals and how actually that works. And I know that you've got a specialist in your organisation that actually does a lot of auction stuff. So what would you be able to tell people a little bit more about auctions, and if there's any training courses you can offer them for those who are interested in buying property at auction houses?
The auction now is accessible for everyone. People used to think that auction properties are only properties that have issues, they're not mortgageable. That perception has changed completely. Right now, you can go to an auction and buy a property for investment. I would say auctions now are actually meant for people who don't want to go through estate agents on the high street, and you can find out in 2-3 months that the property deal falls through. So if you have money, you're a very busy professional, you could be a banker in the city, you've got 300,000 to buy a property and rent out. What you need to do is go to an auction. The moment you win a bid, that's it. You're committed. In 28 days, you own that property. The person cannot pull out. So currently, we see people going to auction because they want that certainty of being able to buy. What we actually do to educate the public on auctions is that every auction day, like auction house auction start from midday. What we do from between 9 and midday, we have speakers that would actually explain how auctions work. We do case studies about people that have actually bought properties from auction and how they've done with them going forward. So I would actually encourage most of your listeners that want to learn about auctions to come to one of our events. They can actually email you. We'll send you an email with when the next auction dates are coming up. They can come to the event and then sit through an auction and watch. It's quite interesting actually to see people bidding £2 million.
Wow.
But when they do come, please tell them not to put their hands up if they haven't got money on them.
So I just want to summarise what we've had today. It's a great discussion about the Midas Property Group and the consultation services you offer. You can help overseas investors who have got money, who don't know very much about the UK market in terms of short-term, long-term returns on their investment, source the property deals. You can help them secure the properties with your solicitors. You can help them arrange possibly lending through your referral agents with the lending partners. And you can help them manage the properties and deal with the returns and selling the properties if they wanted to do that. We can also help people who are looking to do projects on land. You can help developers find land that suits their needs. You can help them oversee the project and also help them convert that build into something that they want. So there's lots of benefits here. So what useful tips that you want to give those people sitting on the armchair at home watching this show thinking, I might be interested in investing in property? What sort of little niggly tips would you like to offer them?
It's a big tip actually. If you do have a different income coming in, or you do plan to buy more than 1, 2, say 4 properties in the future, you're better off buying in a limited company and not in your personal name.
Well, they can always come to you for that. Thank you very much again, Sam, for coming on the show. If you want more information about Sam and the Midas Property Group, contact us on our website or email us at info@propertypillars.co.uk. Thank you so much, Sam, for sharing your experiences, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on the show.